Double J Jeff Jarrett, here with a few of my pals to tell you about the total nonstop savings happening over at SaveWithConrad.com.
Daniel Ortiz in Angelo, Texas. We had 4 large financial unexpected emergencies, and I knew that I needed something to give us a little more breathing room. And when he mentioned we can skip 2 house payments and wipe out credit card debt and loan debt, so that's exactly what I did. I called them, and it did change everything. Diane, she was awesome. She was professional, and the important thing with her is she listened. That's what made all the difference in the world. She was patient, and anytime that I needed to talk to her, she was there. She texted back. It was a different experience from any other place. Well, I can tell you the difference that it made was over $80,000 for us. It freed up that much. My credit score went up 126 points with Save with Conrad, which made it an 802. My name is Daniel Ortiz, and I freed up $80,000 with SaveWithConrad.com.
In my world, it doesn't get any better than 5 stars. Find out how much money Conrad and his team can save you by strutting over to SaveWithConrad.com. So right now, strut on over to SaveWithConrad.com.
NMLS number 65084, Equal Housing Lender. Woo!
Welcome to Something to Wrestle with Bruce Prichard. Well, you know, that's not a rib. She pooted.
What a rib? No, yeah, but
There's no box of gimmicks.
Rumor and innuendo.
I don't deal in rumor and innuendo. And was he there? I was there. I don't give a shit. I ain't scared.
I ain't scared of shit.
Fuck him.
You, Bruce.
I love you. Give me double cheeseburger, double cheese, double mayo, double onion, motherfucker.
Bruce Prichard.
Hey, it's Conrad Thompson, and you're listening to Something to Wrestle With. And do you hear that? That means it's time for a brand new Prichard show. Bruce Prichard, how are you, kind sir?
It's time to take your pills too.
Man, I'll tell you, I have been looking forward to catching up with you. We've been playing a little phone tag lately, but excited to catch up with you and talk about all things wrestling. What's going on with you, man? Anything fun, exciting, new?
Oh man, just really the same old boring stuff. Just to have a boring as hell existence. I love
it. Well, I loved what you guys have been doing. I thought the trial of Roman Reigns the other night was tremendous. And of course, I think along the way, since me and you hooked up, you got to stop by.
Hooked up?
I wanted to talk about your visit. God damn it, will you let me plug Jimmy's Famous Seafood? Is that allowed? Can I do that here on the program? I heard you went. How was it?
I don't know. Jimmy's Seafood sponsoring us or something, or did he? How is Jimmy's Seafood? Please, it's the best. It's the absolute. It is the absolute best. Had some incredible crab cakes. I had me a nice little ribeye steak, which
hell yeah.
Was spot on. Now, here's the thing. Okay, I'm a Gulf shrimp guy because I believe Gulf shrimp is the best shrimp anywhere in the world. You get this Atlantic Yankee stuff, it has no flavor, has no taste. You get that Pacific stuff, Caribbean shrimp, so. But Gulf shrimp, man, it's got that flavor. It's got that taste. It's what shrimp is all about. It's what I was born on, man. And I looked and it said fresh Gulf shrimp, and I said, man, is it really? She says, well, you're just going to have to try it.
Wow.
And it was fresh Gulf shrimp, and it was absolutely excellent, as was every single thing else. Love Jimmy's, man. Love John. Shout out. Just great people, great staff, great everything. But, man, you go there for the food, and you go there for John. You say, hey, Bruce Prichard sent me. Conrad Thompson sent me. And they're going to take damn good care of you, but best of all, you're gonna have the best meal in the whole wide world. Which is what I had. I might have had a few adult beverages as well.
Come on.
Oh yeah, sure did. And they got on a 3:50 a.m. train to get right back to it, man. We ain't got time to fiddle fuck around. Because if you fiddle fuck around, what does that make you? It makes you goddamn fiddle fucker.
Nobody wants to be a
We
fiddle.
ain't no fiddle fuckers.
No fiddle fucking allowed.
No, it's like a goddamn what's it?
It's on a bull.
Well, yeah, it's like so. Well, I was gonna say Silva. That's another way of explaining it, but a lollygagger.
There you go.
You lollygag here and you lollygag there. It makes you a lollygagger.
Yeah,
Or
you don't want to be a lollygag or a fiddle fucker. No, either one.
No.
Hey, so I'm glad you mentioned the beef because you and I get on here all the time and brag about Jimmy's famous seafood and the crab balls, which we both love. Best crab cakes in the world. I mean, Eric Bischoff described preparing one of their crab. I'll get it right.
Crab cakes.
Yeah, there you go. On the big green egg, like touching the face of God. However, one of the first times you and I were there together, John said, "Hey guys," and it was almost like he didn't want anybody to hear him. He goes, "Just try the prime rib."
Yeah.
Like, wait, what? And so neither you nor I ordered it. We were like, we want crab. So he brought us a prime rib to split, and we looked at each other like, motherfucker, I'm getting that last piece. You're not getting it. It's tremendous. So
I actually no. Fuck you. I swear to God, this is what happened. We ate, started eating half of it, and then you just basically took it.
I should have too, by the way.
No bullshit.
I just want to let everybody know.
The lamb chops off the Chizart.
I know we got a lot of people who listen who say, well, I don't love seafood or I don't like crab. Buddy, everything there's good.
I had one of those people with me that night that was like, I don't like seafood.
Yeah.
I said, they got other things, man.
Yeah.
And by the way, and I said the same exact thing. I said the steaks to die for.
Yes.
I said, and I was shocked that I actually got it, but they brought us out so many appetizers of everything that I love. And I'm going, you know what? I'm going to balance this out with a little beef, medium rare. All right, because you got to have balance. That's what's called a balanced meal. You get you some crab cakes, you get you some scallops, you get you some Gulf shrimp, you get you some little calamari, you get your crab balls. Now these are big crabs, so the balls are like that. They're big, they're good size, they're meaty balls.
Everybody loves meaty balls.
Everybody loves meaty balls, and man, you got to balance it out with steaks. That's what that there is what you call a balanced meal.
Listen, this was not a paid advertisement.
That was it was just I had such a good time.
Well, yeah,
and they were so, again, I always love going there just because of the people, and from the general manager down to the extremely kind gentleman that held an umbrella over my head when I got out of the car because it was pouring rain.
Oh my God.
The staff, the food, everything there. I love them to death. And yeah, sometimes they sponsor stuff, but better than anything, they're really good friends and absolutely. Yes. And look, my first, look, man, this is my first. This is like my Virgin Jimmy shirt, my first one, and I never got one before.
Well, listen, we think the world of them, and here's the deal: it's more than just food. It is an experience. They show all the WWE stuff, and if you're looking for your wrestling fix or your UFC fix or whatever it is, there's something for everybody. If you're in Baltimore, make the pilgrimage.
Yes.
You will not be disappointed. I've had some Titan football friends of mine who, whenever they're up there, I introduced them to, they went up there for the Ravens, and I said, hey man, you got to at least check it out. They made the trip over and absolutely loved it.
My wife thinks it's a weekend drive. She's always go to Jimmy's. My baby.
Dude, for real, like I was talking to Shivani not too long ago, and the last major outing he and Lois had was like years ago when she was a surprise for his little birthday party we threw there. And she pitched the other day, hey, why don't we ride up to Jimmy? Like they're going to go to Baltimore, not because they have friends or family there, just to go hang out at Jimmy's. Go out of your way to do it. I think you're going to love it. Now let's talk about something we won't love, or we didn't love, or maybe you did.
Maybe I did. You know what? You don't know what I love. Some people love certain things. Some people dislike certain things, and we all have different tastes. We all have different loves, and sometimes it just takes a little understanding to really feel the love. Sometimes you just may not feel it because you have no feeling, because you just want to analyze everything. And you don't want to just sit back and go, hey, man, it made me feel good. That made me feel bad. And if it made me feel good, maybe I want a little more of it. If it made me feel bad, well, that's just hot. What's different, honey? What do you say? I got a brand new record that I got to play. She says, not now, boy, but I did anyway because I'm ready. Yeah, I'm ready. Yeah.
You're in a good mood this morning. I like it.
Well, I'm back in the saddle.
I like it. You're just yelling random lyrics. You talked about
I
things
am.
that
I
feel
can't
good.
I do the whole thing as This is a young hot pistol ready to fight. I'm a 38 special on a Saturday night. Gonna kiss your boo-boo, honey, make it all right, because I'm ready. Yeah.
Well, I can't believe it, but I'm ready. I'm ready to tell everybody the good news, something that made me feel good. I can't believe this is a real sentence, Bruce, but in a couple of weeks, I'll become a member of the National Wrestling Hall of Fame. Tickets are on sale now. We would love to have you come join us. And when I say us, I mean us, because of all people, the person that is going to induct me into the National Wrestling Hall of Fame, the one and only Mr. Bruce Prichard himself. Tickets are on sale now, nwhof.org. And check out this cast and crew here. JJ Dillon, Jerry Briscoe, JBL, Haku, Demolition. All your old friends are here, including some folks you probably haven't seen in a long time, Bruce, like Ken Patera and Marty Jannetty and John Nord. I've never been to Waterloo, Iowa. I'm excited to see this Hall of Fame. I know you are too. Can you believe this is a real thing, dude?
I've been to Waterloo, Iowa.
You have?
Please, who hasn't? I mean, the fact that you haven't makes you kind of weird.
Well, Briscoe didn't think you had been to the museum before.
I've never been to the museum.
Okay.
But I've been to Waterloo, Iowa.
I got you.
I'm a world traveler, Conrad.
That's correct. I know that.
I've been to Waterloo. I've been to Cedar Rapids, but I am looking forward to seeing the Hall of Fame. I noticed my picture wasn't on there.
Yeah, I was wondering about that because I think, and boy, if this isn't just cruel irony and almost borderline unfair, am I going into the National Wrestling Hall of Fame before you do? Who booked this yet?
Please, I'm not going to any Hall of Fames.
Yeah, you're going in all of them, every one of them.
No, I don't think so.
Oh, well, yeah, you are. I mean, listen, if you can buy your way, if you can win the Karate Black Belt Hall of Fame 5 different times, you're darn sure.
Award. It's an honorary award. It is voted on by the board of directors. And it's not something that is just given out in the Black Belt Hall of Fame. Okay. It's an honorary award for your dedication for your years. One for outstanding student, one for outstanding competitor, one for outstanding performer. And the fourth one was just so that I could be the only one that has 4 Black Belt Hall of Fames.
I thought you had 5.
No, it's 4. Conrad, pay attention.
Okay. Well, we're going to get you that 5th one this year. Either way, love to have you guys come hang out with us. There's going to be lots of fun stuff happening all weekend. They've got some silent auctions for some charity components, and they've got meet and greet opportunities and podcasts.
B32. Oh, wait, no, that's something that's different.
Anyway, check it out, nwhof.org. I think it's $130, and that gets you a couple of meals, an actual wrestling show, some panel discussions, some podcasts, some mixers, and you get to check out the museum and, of course, the Hall of Fame ceremony itself. That's going down Waterloo, Iowa, July 20th through the 22nd, nwhof.org. I'm going to be there, and Bruce. This will be the first time we've been together since your birthday, and I can't wait to get that Jimmy's off your breath. It's going to be a good day.
Ooh.
Hey, so let's talk about while we're here. Our topic today, maybe not nearly as fun as you singing random lyrics. King of the Ring 1995. This is the version from Philadelphia, I believe. And man, I mean, we got a lot of explaining to do here, but first of all, let's just start with King Mabel. Lord bless him. King Mabel, with the King of the Ring has been this illustrious thing. Before it was a pay-per-view, I think Macho Man Randy Savage held it. Once we're on pay-per-view. Here comes Bret Hart and Owen Hart and just unbelievable in-ring performers. And now a new era on the heels of the steroid era. King Mabel. What are we doing here, Bruce?
He was king.
You were a fan of King Mabel. You like this?
He was king. Right. He won.
Oh, good.
In the legacy of Harley Race,
Oh, don't shoot.
you saw Jim Duggan, the Macho King. I mean, King Mabel, first of all, rolls off the tongue. He had an entire cabinet below him with Sir Mo, who was knighted. So, you know, I'm sorry, just because you don't like someone, you think it's not good. He was Mabel, and he was a king, and he was a man, and he was on a mission.
Oh my God. What was the mission, Bruce? What kind of mission was he on?
Big mission. Come on, Bruce. What was it?
Come on, Bruce.
Come on, Bruce. Come on, Bruce.
Bruce.
Hey, man, I want to wrap you out, man. I got a rap I want to do about you and everything. And bless his heart, man, Oscar would come to a lot of our early live shows.
Yeah.
Come
on, Bruce.
I want to do this rap for you. And it was, come on, Bruce. Come on, Bruce. Come on, Bruce. I'm like, hell of a fucking rap, man. But it was great. I thought it was fun.
Hey, it was silly. It was fun. We had a good time.
Great.
So in the first
I did. You didn't like it apparently, but
what?
I don't know.
The first qualifying match, we see Mabel defeat Adam Bomb at the first In Your House pay-per-view on May 14th. It's a very short match. We've covered this in the archives, but this is beginning Mabel's quest to be king. Was it already known, like, how far in advance in this era did you guys have Mabel down as being the king of the ring, or what? Just how do we decide on that as the next direction, the next step?
You know, here's the funny thing. When you try something new and you do something different that people don't expect or what have you, it's always criticized. And and again, was Mabel the right guy to make king? Maybe not. But at the time, had you not made King Mabel, you would be hearing they just look over King Mabel. We want something new. Why don't you give us something new? Here's a guy, he could have been good because he'd be a threat to Diesel as the champion. But then when you do it, he sucks. He's horrible. You know, you got to try things. You got to break a few eggs to make an omelet. And again, this is a time where we were looking to build new stars. We're looking to build new opponents for a new champion in Diesel. So King Mabel, big bastard, formidable opponent. When you look at the two, I could say, hey, man, I could see Mabel being victorious there just on sheer looks alone, size and looks. So why not try something new? If you try something new, you're stupid for trying something new because you should go with the guy. Everybody else apparently should have been king except for King Mabel. But if you made anybody else king, why didn't you give it to somebody new?
So you're expressing your frustration for armchair quarterbacks when it comes to booking?
Yeah.
You know, a friend of ours, Jeff Rowe, he says creative is subjective. Some will hate it, some won't. So what? Where are you at on that?
Well, that's true.
Yeah.
You know, it's again, I like Diet Pepsi. You like Diet Coke.
Right.
I'll drink Diet Coke. I like Diet Coke. But you don't like to taste my Diet Pepsi. You don't like my Diet Pepsi. You make fun of it. You do it. I drink my
I really Diet Pepsi?
This here. Yeah.
Oh wow, look at there. I didn't know you really rock Diet Pepsi.
Yeah. Then I have my drink.
Hey, so let's talk about the Adam Bomb character.
Mm-hmm.
You know, this is I mean, he has an incredible look. Maybe it's a little silly, but the actual guy, man.
What's silly about his look?
No, I mean,
well, you said it was silly. I'm asking what was silly about his look.
I don't think I said. I think I said he had an incredible look, but maybe the gimmick was a little silly.
Actually, you said his look was silly.
Okay.
That's why I'm digging down. What is that we say? I'm drilling down.
Doing a deep dive, maybe?
Something You're like doubling down.
Who the fuck what's it?
I don't know. It's God. I don't know. Talk to me about Adam Bomb, the character. Like, what was did you see that working, or was that always silly to you?
First name Adam, last name Bomb.
I mean, that just when you say it, it still sounds kind of dumb.
Okay, some to you. It was the time when we had gimmicks, and here was a guy that was a big bastard that if you were to have an atom bomb explode, that's probably what it would look like. It's a human being. So in a time of gimmicks, you create gimmicks. You create characters for people. It's more than just, hey, here's Brian Clark.
No, I'm with you on that.
What's Brian Clark? Atom bomb in a name describes what that character is. It's an explosive character. It's a larger than life character. It's a character that creates a great deal of destruction. So in a name, you can describe someone versus, here's Hiroshima Shimagashi.
Well, no,
but all I'm saying is you just have a name sometimes, and sometimes that works. For this, in an era in which gimmicks were important and creating personas for people was important. We were in a different time, and Atom Bomb was just as good as anything else, as Hulk Hogan.
Well, that's what I wanted to ask is, do you think from a name standpoint, there's a ceiling with certain characters? Like the name Atom Bomb, could you have seen that name on Regis and Kathy Lee?
Absolutely. I think he did do Regis and Kathy.
A WrestleMania poster.
Sure.
Okay. All right. So you like Atom Bomb. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Maybe he could have wrestled Chili McFreeze one day.
Maybe he could have.
It's a stupid name. And it did.
No, it's a stupid name because you think it's a stupid name.
Okay. Well, I mean, listen, maybe that's just me.
Okay. Maybe it's just you. Ding Dongs is a stupid name. I'll give you a whole list of stupid names.
So my question is,
some people like him, some people don't.
He looks like a badass. No denying his look. The character doesn't connect for whatever reason. Why do you think that is? I mean, by August of '95, he's a goner.
I think he tried too hard. I think we probably tried too hard. I don't know. Initially putting Johnny Flamingo in there with him was a way to give him even more personality and do the talking. I don't know that Brian had the gift of gab to go out and, there's a lot of different ways to portray a character, and there's a lot of different ways to portray a gimmick and do it. Sometimes you do it over the top. Sometimes you need to do it over the top. Sometimes you need to go the extra mile. Like, for example, if you want to be a Red Rooster, you should probably be over the top. If you're Atom Bomb and you look the way that Atom Bomb looks like and you're brand new, you can let a mouthpiece like Johnny Flamingo go out and talk and get you over. I just think that he got so involved in, the footballs, the little Atom Bomb footballs that we had, and the merchandise we had. Hey, man, you may think it's a silly gimmick. Sold a shitload of Atom Bomb footballs. And there was a connection there. There was parts of that worked. The audience liked the gimmick. I just don't think that they really believed the guy behind the gimmick at the end of the day was really going to be, that credible for whatever reason. But I can point to a lot of merchandise that was sold that.
Help me understand, just so I understand the gimmick, because you keep saying it's a gimmick. It's a gimmick. Is the gimmick that he is a terrorist? Does he make bombs?
Why is an atom bomb a terroristic thing?
Well, his last name
is a defensive thing. An atom bomb is a destructive force. It's that simple.
Okay.
You made the leap to terrorists.
Well, no, I'm just bomb. So I'm just wondering. Bomb. I mean, he has a nuclear look and vibe.
You ever seen how they take buildings down they basically make bombs inside to make a building come down. If all you want to do is go to the negative, we can go to the negative and go through let's go through all the silly shit that you want.
I've never seen a building brought down with a nuclear weapon before. That's new for me, but I don't know how they do it.
Same principle.
No, I get it. It could have been worse. So far, just so you understand, boys and girls out there, we've got King Mabel.
Yeah, goddamn right. A king, royalty, along the same lineage. Okay, make sure you get that in there. Same lineage is Harley Race.
We've also got
Randy Savage.
Bob
Catch up in
Sparky
Duggan.
Plug Holly
The
defeating
SCP for
Mantar.
sure.
Think about that. Mantar. It could have been worse for Adam Bomb.
Half man,
Half tar.
Yeah. Half man, half tar.
Mantar.
He has hooves.
I mean, in
He's got
'95,
hooves.
were you guys creatively bankrupt here? Do you think?
No.
I mean, King Mabel, Adam Bomb, Sparky Plug, and Mantar. These are the first two matches we're talking about on the way to King of the Ring. Like,
Yeah. You're welcome.
All right, let's talk about a team meeting. This is written about in the Observer. At a lengthy team meeting on May 18th in Titan Towers, designed to bridge the gap between talent and office, the World Wrestling Federation informed its wrestlers of a new and far more restrictive company drug policy, and McMahon gave an upbeat speech informing wrestlers of the current financial condition of Titan Sports, and so there were already signs of a turnaround. The seminar with all the contract wrestlers included showing wrestlers as an information videotape of what various departments of the company, such as marketing, TV production, etc., do. The wrestlers were told that the company wants to remove the barriers that had previously separated quote-unquote office from talent. McMahon told the wrestlers that Titan Sports grossed $83.7 million in 1994, but after the expenses, the company's bottom line was a $3.8 million loss. Reportedly, in its best year in the late 80s, Titan grossed $186 million, and even in a recent interview with Financial World magazine, McMahon was still claiming the company grossed to be well in excess of $100 million, and in the past, Titan PR had claimed figures ranging from $300 to $500 million. So listen, this was a challenging time for the company, for Vince to get the whole crew together and say, hey, we lost $3.8 million last year. It seems like we're trying to rally the troops here, and maybe there's some folks who are wondering about their future or what have you. What do you remember of this meeting? And is it accurate that he tried to go through and explain what all the different departments do? Because that's a pretty cool idea, I think.
I really don't remember that much about the meeting. I remember the meeting. I remember being able to bring everyone in the Northeast, come in, see the office, see the people that work for you. And,
yes.
You know, here is the crew basically that is here to support you and hopefully take you to the next level that everybody works together. I unlike Dave Meltzer, I don't remember every single detail of the meeting, you know, because he was there taking notes and probably had his little recorder there. But so I can't speak to that. Did we have a meeting? Yeah, I remember a meeting where we got everybody together. Sometimes you need, you know, a state of the state meeting. Meetings are good and bad sometimes. You know what I mean? And they're necessary sometimes to deliver news that isn't always the best of news. Deliver it in one group and be gone and be done with it. Get it out so everybody hears the exact same message. Sometimes it's good, man, to do it when you have a success to tout. You know, this wasn't, you know, it wasn't good news time. Business wasn't good. So, man, we're trying new things. We're experimenting with some different things. And I think everybody was feeling that pressure and needed to know that, look, you have a team here. You have a team that's behind you and a team that is working 24/7 to get us out of this and do whatever it is we need to do. So, you know, that's, I think, the general consensus of the meeting. And, you know, the drug policy and all that other good shit. It's, again, one of those situations where, man, I got news. It's better to deliver it sometimes to the whole group one time. You do it to 3 different meetings, you're probably going to deliver 3 different messages, not meaning to. You know, you can say similar things, the same things, that, hey, we lost money, we made money here, we lost money there, and overall, here's where we are. And people will come out of those meetings. People are going to come out of the one meeting with 10 different theories on what they heard, because they only hear what they want to hear.
So you said a minute ago, sometimes meetings can be good, sometimes they can be bad. Can you elaborate on that?
Yeah, sometimes you're given good news, sometimes you're given bad news.
I
think that depending upon the news in the meeting is whether, people classify that, that was a good meeting. By God, I sure do feel good. Or, boy, that was a bad meeting. Boy, business is in the toilet. So I think everybody should be informed. I really do. I am one of those that I feel that, man, get in front of it, inform, let them know. And sometimes I think that there was a habit of letting things fester to the point that talent would create their own stories and their own narrative as to what was going on without having it being based in fact or in, I don't know what the hell they based them on sometimes. But that's all. I just think that, meetings, every single different person, the telephone game, man, it's by the time it gets from here to there, we had a situation not long ago that literally was in a span of a minute and a half, a message that was given to one person to give to another person to give to a third party had it as fucked up could be. Just because one person, oh, okay, I got it. Yeah. Conrad could say, hey, man, I won a bet for $50 the other day from Bruce. To, oh my God, Bruce is broken. Needs to borrow $50 million from Conrad.
Oh, wow.
To, oh my God, Bruce took 50 bucks out of Conrad's wallet. Can you believe that?
Yeah, not the same thing.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Everybody hears what they want to hear and interprets what they want to interpret. The general consensus of the meeting was to get everybody together, let them know we are working forward, let them know the state of the state. Here's where we are, man. Things are tough. You know it because you're out there on the road every night. It's not a secret to a talent who's playing to a half-empty building that
right
things could be better.
Yeah, no doubt.
So address it and try to get in front of it.
Let's talk a little bit about another piece of this meeting. JJ Dillon is the person who I believe talks about the drug policy. I guess he's running talent relations in this era. Meltzer would say that this is going to be, if it's strictly enforced, and there was no hint it wouldn't be, easily the most stringent in any sport or entertainment company. Here's a specific line, though. Within the policy, marijuana has been reclassified to the same position as anabolic steroids and cocaine, and that a positive test results in a 6-week suspension on the first offense, suspension and rehab on the second offense, and termination on the third offense. Previously, it's believed that marijuana positives were subject to fines, but not suspensions, at least on the first offense. Now, I assume this is because, well, marijuana at the time is illegal nationally, and this could be really bad headlines and really bad news for the WWE if the narrative gets out there that, oh, those are just a bunch of drug users, blah, blah, blah. There's been some criticism in recent years from guys like Bret Hart who say perhaps this policy and this change here, where the attitude towards marijuana changed, which, make no bones about it, WWE was saying obey the law, don't break the law. However, prescription pills were legal. And Bret says maybe guys were nervous about losing their gigs, so maybe the guys who normally would smoke a little marijuana after the matches now were taking a few pills and a few turns to too many, and maybe we have a rash of unnecessary deaths. But pills were legal. Marijuana was illegal. Where did you stand on this at the time? And now, with the benefit of hindsight, do you wish it was different?
Well, look, I'll say this. We're entertainers.
Yes.
Sylvester Stallone drug tested before he does a movie?
Nope.
Arnold Schwarzenegger tested before he does a movie?
Nope.
Go on down the line, the number of young actors that have passed because of ODs and rock stars, they tested?
Nope.
We're entertainers. Now, we're also athletes, and it's sports entertainment. The work in which we do, I think, but I don't know. Highly unlikely. But stuntmen should probably be tested, maybe, for certain impaired drugs. If you're in the ring with somebody, do you want to be in the ring with someone who is high on something? Give your body to them, trust them with your body to put you in the right place at the right time in the ring? I don't. I think Bret has a point. I think that marijuana was something that was used in that era. What are we talking, 30 years ago?
Yeah.
Or more, in that era, as I'd rather go and smoke a joint than go and have a drink. I didn't wake up with a hangover. Because it was illegal, would do it where I would stay in my room, not be seen, so no one would see me high, but it made me feel better. It made me feel good. And again, I didn't have that hangover. That's how I dealt with things. So I think it's, the steroid thing was strictly coming off of the government and the trial and everything that we had been through, and they had been classified as illegal. For years before that, they weren't legal. I mean, or they weren't illegal. They were legal.
Right.
You could get them from a doctor. Now it was actually, you still can get them from doctors, certain things. I just, it's tough. I think that, but if you don't put marijuana in it, then how does it hold water for everything else?
Yeah. Illegal's illegal. Yeah.
Yeah. So why is cocaine in there? Well, cocaine's illegal.
Yes.
Yeah, but it makes me feel better at the end of the night.
All right.
So you have to put marijuana in there so that you can cover the, we're covering everything here. I think that we always kind of battled the battle of we're entertainers, and nobody else in the entertainment realm, even, and again, the stuntmen and different people in the entertainment world weren't held to the same criteria that we held ourselves to. And it was nobody saying you have to do this.
Right.
And, this was to try and help people. I do think that, guys look for other relief. And I do think that a lot, turn to prescription medication, downers and painkillers that would help mask the pain. And some were not able to take as prescribed and would abuse them. That goes with anything. And it just is, it's a quandary. You want people to be healthy. You want people that as a performer, when you're in the ring, you want people you can trust and know that I'm in the ring with someone who's not impaired.
Right.
I'm going to be safe, and they're going to be safe. So, speaking out both sides of my mouth when I say I don't think we need to be tested, but at the same time, there needed to be guidelines to ensure the safety of all the talent. And you're always going to have that backlash and that side effect of, okay, well, when you take this away from somebody,
right,
they are going to search for something else to supplement what you've taken away from them, because it's all of a sudden, well, you can't do that. Well, but I've done it for 20 years. I can't do it anymore. Well, I need something else to do.
Right.
So I got to go find something else. And unfortunately, that's the byproduct of doing that. And I don't think that anybody, Even now, I don't think the government looks at marijuana as, this evil drug. But boy, back then it was, oh my God, he smokes marijuana. I think alcohol is worse than.
I don't even think that's debatable at this point.
Alcohol is worse than marijuana,
right?
In my book.
Yeah, I think most books.
So, it's all a matter of opinion.
Well, it's not a matter of opinion that on the next Superstars, Razor Ramon would defeat Jacob Blue, and at this point, this is another
JB.
This is another one of those King of the Ring qualifiers.
Mm-hmm.
Razor Ramon's probably looking like the favorite. Creatively, though, you guys already had King Mabel down on paper, like you thought this was going to be his opportunity. Why not a Razor? I mean, in the same vein of, a Bret and an Owen, he's sort of the same caliber in-ring performer, right?
Why not Jacob Blue?
Oh, goodness gracious.
But no, I mean, again, you got a whole list of talent. You can say, why not this talent to every single talent on the roster? Why not Razor? Well, Razor didn't need it. Razor Ramon on his own was Razor Ramon and very popular, and you could plug Razor into anything as a main event guy. But if you want to elevate a new talent, this was an opportunity and a tool to elevate a new talent. Razor didn't need that elevation. Razor was there. Razor was the guy that brought people up.
Let's talk about Razor for a minute, because him and Jeff Jarrett are trading the IC title back and forth in ladder matches in Canada. Is something like that done just to try to boost sales there, or interest in the house shows? Like, you never know what's going to happen, sort of thing.
Yeah. It's the live events were something that you're in Hoboken or you're in Saskatoon or Red Deer or Winnipeg. Why do I really need to go to the live event? Well, because things happen. And when you have a championship change hands, the next time that you're in town and people see it, they go, oh, you know what? Hey, this may happen. You might have a new champion. It happened last time. And just to create interest in the live events by putting the title matches. Oh my God, this happened in Calgary. This happened in Halifax. It helps. It helps live events. That's the theory behind it.
Let's do a little bit about Bob Backlund. This is written in the Observer. The highlight was Bob Backlund announcing he was running for president, which was one of the funniest interviews in a long time. It was funny both intentionally and unintentionally, since Backlund had to memorize all these dates and got most of them right. But he had one unintentionally hilarious screw up, saying the first Olympics was held in 1776 BC. And the best one was when he said on December 27th, 1983, JFK was assassinated. Actually, that was the day Hogan debuted as a babyface in the WWF. Kennedy had been dead for more than 20 years. This is super funny. I love this version of Bob Backlund. What'd you think?
It was an entertaining Bob Backlund.
Yeah.
Bob may have thought that, Kennedy was assassinated on that date just because it was such a horrific date in Bob Backlund's mind. Bobby is probably, he might have lost some of his faculties. I really don't know. I saw him about a year ago. He looks in amazing shape.
No surprise. No surprise.
An absolute animal in the gym, but he doesn't train like most people would think that he does. And Bob was unconventional. In order to get an autograph from Bob, if you were a kid, you needed to name all the presidents in order. And if you missed one, you can get an autograph. Bob would tell him, go back and study your presidents. And the next time that you see me, you come straight to the front of the line and tell me, I failed last time, but I learned, Mr. Backlund. And here are the presidents. If you get it right, you'll get an autograph. Get an education, young man. That is truly who Bob Backlund was, and is. Fun guy, great guy. But I think that, it was, some of it was unintentionally funny.
Yes.
Obviously it was meant to be a
funny. Ha ha.
No, we've got a crazy man that the idea was that Bobby was a little off his rocker, which I think some people may argue Bobby might have been a little off of his rocker at times.
Yeah.
But then it's just hilarious when people that know, Bob would stop at my house if he was in the area. I lived in Monroe. Bob lived in Glastonbury. If Bob was down south of Monroe, Bob would always call to say, "Hey, Bruce, I'm close by. Mind if I stop by and say hi?" Would always bring flowers, would always bring like a 6-pack of beer or something. We'd sit, have a few beers and talk and just enjoy each other's company. And I considered him, still do, one of the classiest and nicest gentlemen I've ever had the pleasure to be around in this business. Other people saw him as a goof. I just thought that, man, he was just so real, so genuine, and deep down, good-natured, wonderful person. But Bob, man, had these great ideas that were off the cuff, that if you were to deliver them, it's like Kurt Angle, Olympic gold medalist. I should be the biggest baby face in the company. Now, if you're Kurt Angle and you're talking about intensity, integrity, and intelligence, and you're telling me how great you are, I hate you. Because you are, you bastard. You're better than me. That was Bob. Same principle. Just in a different way, where Bob really had these feelings about the United States. Bob really had these feelings about the lack of education in America. Bob really had those strong feelings about, well, my God, if I were president, this is what I'd do. Sometimes you'd listen to him and go, man, that makes perfect sense. Sometimes you'd say, huh? And that's what made Bob just a special talent, especially during this time.
Well, it's super fun, man. Next up, we got Shawn Michaels defeating King Kong Bundy on the May 22nd edition of Raw. So who knows? Maybe we're going to get Razor versus Shawn later on in the tournament.
Or Bundy.
Yeah, Bundy. He was stealing money.
Monday. You went to the bank on Friday. Did they arrest you? Gosh, for what, Ernie? You're stealing money, Bundy. Every time you cash a check, you're stealing money.
On Superstars on the 27th, we see Kama, the Supreme Fighting Machine, beat Duke the Dumpster Droese in the next qualifying match. So no King of the Dumpsters.
God, you said it right that time.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Duke the Dumpster Droese.
No, God damn it.
Try to class him up a little bit.
Well, I try to class you up. I try to help you in pronunciation. It starts here, pal.
There's a lot of issues with injuries here. Diesel's hurt. He's going to be on the shelf until the pay-per-view. It's announced.
I was going to say it wanted a pay-per-view that day.
He's going to be teaming with Bam Bigelow and taking on Sid and Tatanka.
Yeah,
buddy, that feels like a tough sell, man. Like, I don't know. What do you think about that? When you see that graphic that you're looking at right now over on YouTube,
main event anywhere in the world.
I guess there's hope after Bam Bam lost to LT at WrestleMania and the $1 Million Corporation kicks off that maybe he'd be a top baby face since he's been kicked out of the $1 Million Corporation. I don't know that ever really worked. Like, Bam Bam just seems like a natural heel to me. Just his look is a heel vibe. Do you think Bam Bam worked as a baby face?
I don't know. Because when Bam Bam was portrayed as a heel, when Bam Bam first came in, because of the way Bam Bam worked, make him a heel, people still liked him because of the way that he worked, and he was a little flamboyant and did some impressive aerial moves and things. Bam Bam didn't work like a heel, but when you make him a babyface, he didn't come across genuine. So you didn't like that. Bam Bam was kind of an enigma and a tough one to place. We had high hopes for Bam Bam early on when he debuted in '87 for him to be this, there would be Hulk Hogan and then there would be Bam Bam Bigelow. But those hopes and dreams didn't really pan out. I think for the LT promotion, Bam Bam Bigelow versus Lawrence Taylor, I think that worked because Bam Bam was a big, unique looking guy. And whether I know who the hell he is or not, know anything about it, I can look at him and go, oh, man, LT might have bit off more than he could chew. So it's just sometimes it was difficult for the audience to understand whether Bam Bam was fish or fowl.
Because he looked like a heel but wrestled like a babyface?
Yeah.
I got you. Do you think it's like the cartwheels and things like that made him a babyface? I mean,
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. What heel does that? You're in the middle of a fight, you're going to do a cartwheel because you can.
Yeah.
Maybe in today's society, who knows? But back then, Connie, that shit don't fly.
So you think maybe the reason he didn't become an even bigger star is he wasn't able to, I don't know, be more nimble as far as, I don't mean literally.
No, I don't know that. And I don't even know that it's Bam Bam's fault. I think it was just the circumstance. I think it was more than anything the audience having a hard time understanding who he was and why he was.
May on Raw on May 29th. It's a big one. We've got The Undertaker defeating the Intercontinental Champion Jeff Jarrett with a tombstone. This is again a King of the Ring qualifier. Man, you got to think as a fan watching at home, The Undertaker's got to be the odds-on favorite now. The idea that he's even in a match like this or a tournament like this. Of course, Razor's advanced, Shawn's advanced, Mabel's advanced, but my goodness, The Undertaker.
King Taker.
Was he in a lot of King of the Ring tournaments? Doesn't seem like Undertaker in a tournament, really. I don't know.
The Undertakers can be in tournaments.
Oh, of course they can.
Yeah, like embalming tournaments and shit. Who can embalm someone the fastest and the cleanest with the least embalming fluid?
Oh, I see.
It's a whole new sport. We're going to do. You just wait. Undertaker cast. And we'll have all kinds of cool, like Undertaker mortuary tests, feats. Yeah. Like who can make someone look the most alive?
Dead.
Yeah. Exactly. Most creative things to be buried with. Who can come up with them?
Okay.
I got 1 million of them.
Well, I'll tell you what we had a bunch of that night, and that's ratings. This Raw sets the record up to that point. It does a 3.9 rating. Of course, you guys knew you needed ratings, so you just sprinkled a little Jeff Jarrett in there, and boom, popped a number. Chris Candido is going to debut as Skip, and it's reported in the Observer at the time that there's actually talks with Dustin Rhodes. You did get some other folks debuting around this same time. Waylon Mercy, Techno Team 2000, lots of moving parts. But Dustin Rhodes, like if you're watching along with us, you may have forgotten, but Techno Team 2000, one half of that, Eric Watts from WCW. And of course, Waylon Mercy here. What a great character that is. Dan Spivey, another guy we've seen a little bit of in the WWF before and WCW. But Dustin Rhodes, 1995 here. This is going to become gold dust. Here we go, man. Superstars on June 3rd. The Roadie is going to have his second televised match, and he's going to defeat Doink the Clown. I guess that means there's no plan for King Doink.
Damn it.
Do you think the babyface clown gimmick had run its course by this point?
I think that once Matt Bourne
Was no longer
was
doing
no
it.
longer Doink, that the Doink character lost all steam and all. Yeah, wasn't the same. It was just a guy in a clown outfit. Matt Bourne was Doink.
Have you had a chance to see Dark Side of the Ring that covered Doink or Matt
No.
Bourne specifically?
No.
I think you'd dig it.
Yeah.
I know you hadn't had a chance to see much TV lately, but
not a fan of that series.
Well, the Adrian Adonis one that's coming up is pretty incredible. The June 4th show is supposed to be a big time moment for the WWF. NBC is scheduled to air Shawn Michaels versus Diesel and LT versus Bam Bam in a replay of WrestleMania in prime time. But man, it never airs. It's canceled just 5 days ahead of time. Of course, we know later on Fox would pick up this WrestleMania special and air it in September. But what happened with you guys in NBC? It's canceled 5 days out. Do you remember this?
When did it air?
Well,
it did eventually air.
Yeah, I said that. NBC was supposed to air it, and it had been promoted. 5 days out, it's canceled. Later, Fox airs it, but it airs in September. Here we are in June. It's supposed to be June 4th. And nope, NBC pulls the plug.
Yeah, don't really remember. Maybe in a money issue. I really don't remember, because I know that we eventually aired it, and that was the deal, to do a special to give people the top matches from WrestleMania. Now, I do know that there was argument early on, feeling that June was way too early to air, main events from WrestleMania. Oh my God, they just paid back in March or April for WrestleMania. Now you're going to give it to them 2 months later? That argument always astonished me, because I remember as a kid, boxing matches, Ali would fight.
Yep.
Paid big money for closed circuit television. But yet 2 or 3 weeks later on the wide world of sports, it was there, man. It was free.
HBO did it a week later, during their height of boxing pay-per-views 1 week.
But later. HBO's a subscription service. We're talking ABC, Wide World of Sports, would air the fights a couple weeks later. Same thing with like Evil Knievel jumps and things like that.
Yeah.
Knievel would do a big jump. Oh my God, it's so great. Closed circuit, all this other stuff. Yeah. A couple weeks later, Howard Cosell's. And Kenny, and we're worried about
months later,
showing it. I just found that, interesting all the time, but I can't tell you what happened specifically. I have absolutely no idea.
Something that's kind of interesting that I didn't know until we started doing research for this show happens on June 5th. There's a TV taping where there's a dark match, and Bob Holly's going to be in that match working against Chris Benoit. Of course, we know Benoit doesn't wind up signing with the company and coming in, but it's crazy to think that, he's working here in 1995. Why don't you think you guys pulled the trigger on Benoit? Was he making more money in Japan, or did you guys not like what you saw, or what do you think?
I think Chris was feeling at that time Chris was probably too small.
Okay.
And Chris had his other stuff and worked a completely different style that I think some people, they refer to it as spot monkeys today. But Chris worked a different style at that time, and Chris wasn't the biggest guy in the world and had his commitments in Japan and wanted to have his cake and eat it too. And that was just something we weren't interested in doing.
Talk to me a little bit about Shane Douglas. He's going to be backstage at this television taping. How do you remember the whole concept of Dean Douglas coming to be for him? Was that an idea that Vince heard about his background and leaned into, or what do you recall?
Yeah, Shane was a school teacher. Shane was always talking about the fact that he was a school teacher and his intelligence and what have you. And it's like, okay, leaning into people's backgrounds and trying to make them as close to what they were in their civilian life. Shane Douglas was a school teacher. So why not make him, the principal, or make him the dean? And Dean Douglas was born. It's just as simple as that. That was something that Shane was comfortable with and liked because it put him in his comfort zone of what he did in real life.
So far we've got 7 entrants, and the final qualifying match is going to be on Raw. It's last year's King of the Ring, Owen Hart, taking on the British Bulldog, Davey Boy Smith. They go 15 minutes to a time limit draw on a match that was taped 3 weeks prior. But now, because it was a draw, both guys are out of the tournament. It's crazy to think, man. 2 great wrestlers like this, but we got a good story. We're going to eliminate them both. But now we need a new qualifying match. So the following week on Raw, we get Yokozuna beating Lex Luger by countout to qualify for the last spot. You think it would have mattered at all if Lex got one last little renewed push here in 95? We know that, eventually later this same year, he's going to jump ship to WCW, but you tried it a few years prior. It didn't work, as far as the whole SummerSlam crowning of a new champion deal. Could it have worked? Do you think creatively he could have been satisfied, or at that point, was it just time to move on?
Time to move on.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you something. We'll never move on, and that's Blue Chew. We love Blue Chew. We're never going to.
Blue Chew will make you move.
Yes. And she will go on and on.
Yeah.
How you're the king of the ring. Blue Chew is the miracle worker. All right. It is a unique online service that is going to make you feel like you're 17 years old again. It's got the same active ingredients as Viagra, Cialis, and Levitra, but a chewable form and at a fraction of the cost. So you don't need to break the bank to break her back. You can take them anytime, day or night. So plan ahead or be ready whenever an opportunity arises. Think of it as like a hot tag for your wiener. The process is simple. You'll sign up at BlueChew.com. You'll consult with one of their licensed medical providers. And once you're approved, man, you'll get it in just a few days. And here's the best part. It's all done online. That means no visits to the doctor's office, no awkward conversations, and no waiting in line at the pharmacy. Blue Chew's tablets are made in the USA, prepared and shipped directly to your door, all in a discreet package. And Blue Chew wants to help you have better sex. So discover your options at BlueChew.com. Chew it and do it. And boy, we've got a special deal for our listeners. Try Blue Chew free when you use our promo code WRESTLE at checkout. Just pay $5 shipping. That's BlueChew.com. The promo code WRESTLE will receive your first month free. Visit BlueChew.com for more details and important safety information. We want to thank Blue Chew for sponsoring the podcast. So let's get back at it here. June 5th is the big announcement from Ted Turner and Eric Bischoff that they're going to be running a show for WCW in prime time, heads up against Monday Night Raw. Where were you when you first heard this? Were you with Vince? What was the reaction?
What was with Eric's haircut?
I don't know. It's like he lost a bet, which he's been prone to do recently.
It's almost like they put like one of those little boy band wigs on him or something. Eric's always had good hair, though.
He has no hair now.
He looks good with no hair, though.
He looks good at everything. I mean, he's
I hate that bastard.
Handsome motherfucker.
Yeah, hair or without. Could you imagine me bald? Now that would be an ugly motherfucker. Whew. Me bald's not a good thing.
You want to make a bet? Let's bet. Let's do a hair bet.
Yeah, what do you want to bet?
I don't know, but loser gets their head shaved at the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, well, I only bet bets that I win.
Well, did you think this Nitro idea was going to win? What did you think of WCW announcing they were going heads up? Did you and Vince just kind of laugh this off?
No, not necessarily. It just, you're looking at it and going, well, it's going to be a tough hill to climb for them. And the thought of splitting the audience, it was just didn't understand that reasoning at that time. If you want to go head to head, establish an audience and then come in and bring an established audience already in and go head to head. I think a lot of it was just wondering, how and why more than anything. Obviously it worked out for them for a few weeks.
83 of them.
Yeah. Well, boy. And how are they doing now?
Y'all own them.
Yeah.
Just like Paul Bosch and ECW.
They don't own Paul Bosch's library, unfortunately. Somebody stole that.
Yeah. I mean, you own all of his stuff, though.
Well, I purchased his stuff and put his son into a home where he could be taken care of as a blind gentleman with cerebral palsy.
Well, why are you getting hot at me?
Nothing. You're acting like I stole it. I actually paid.
I didn't say you stole it. I don't know.
I'm saying the library was stolen. That's
who stole it, Bruce. Who stole his library?
Who knows?
Well, you know. Say the name. Okay.
You know the name. They know the name. So screw them.
The day before the pay-per-view, it's announced that Razor Ramon has a rib injury and won't be able to compete in the tournament. So on the live pre-show before the pay-per-view, we're going to have Razor's new buddy, Savio Vega, wrestle IRS to fill that spot. What do you remember about Razor's injury here?
God, I know Razor was injured after, was definitely. So it probably was injured beforehand. It was legit.
We're
I know afterwards he was definitely nursing that injury after King of the Ring.
We got to talk about coming off the first In Your House. This is the first time since Survivor Series in Tuesday in Texas in 91 where you have pay-per-views 2 months in a row. So we're starting the brand new monthly pay-per-view format. Of course, King of the Ring is not a new thing, but there being a pay-per-view the month prior is a new thing. At the time, what did you think about monthly pay-per-views? Like, as a business and then as a quote unquote writer, because now you've got to come up
we ain't have no writers then, Conrad.
You get where I'm going, Bruce. Creatively, it is different to have a 30-day runway as opposed to a 90-day runway. But from a business standpoint, you're probably thinking, shit, man, we got to do what we can to get some more revenue in here, right?
Yeah, I don't even know that was the reason, other than it was just opportunity and the feeling that there was lost opportunity there. I was personally not thrilled with doing monthly pay-per-view events. I felt that was very challenging, where to have the big five, if you will, and be able to tell the story over an elongated period of time. I like that better, like being able to tell stories a little bit longer. Now it's forcing you to do it every week. At the same time, you have to look at it and go, it's like booking the territory. You know, you had a big show once a month, so there's going to be a big show once a month. And to be able to coordinate all of that, it just was a different philosophy in booking and how you told your stories. They paid off sooner.
Why were you caught off or did you take umbrage with the word writer? I mean, that's effectively what you've been doing, working in creative, right? You're coming
I've
up
never
with
been a writer.
So how would you describe your job in that era?
Worked creative and booked and wrote TV. But I never consider myself a writer.
So
I don't consider myself a writer in the way that I think that Hollywood and people look at writers. Not a big fan of that term. I think that, we were creative people that put things on paper. Conrad, you got to understand, I didn't consider myself it is semantics. You're right. That's what I'm saying. When I was a producer, I just was the guy that put everything together. I didn't understand that was a producer. I don't think that. I think people get confused with titles as to what they are, and I'm just not. I'm not a title guy.
I get you're not a title guy, but when I said, "Hey, describe what your job was," if you were,
I didn't sit there and write out what people say, and maybe that's what I think when I think of a writer. What a writer does. No, we created shows, we created formats, we told stories. What am I? I'm a storyteller. That's what I do. I tell stories, and I try to bring them to life on the screen.
Don't you think a writer would say he does the same thing?
Sure. Some would, some wouldn't. Some would say, no, I write the words that do that. I'm an idea guy. I'm a creative guy. I'm a storyteller.
No, I like it. I just think it's funny that you hate that word so
I don't.
much.
I think that it pigeonholes, and there's so many more things that I did then that I do now, and everything else. It's just say, oh, writer. No, even the writers do so much more than just write, and that's where it's an education process that people that have never been there will never understand. So you can try as you may, it's just not going to understand.
No, I'm not arguing it. I think you think writer has a negative connotation. Like you think it's
no, you think I think that. I didn't say that. I said
I said tell me what you think, what your job was, and you said I wrote TV. Well, wrote TV, writer.
I created TV. I told stories.
That's again, we're splitting hairs here. The night before,
and again, like you said, it's semantics.
Yeah.
I call you the loan guy. Okay, you make loans.
It's fine.
Okay, fine.
I don't take offense to it because I'm not a fucking asshole.
I'm not a fucking asshole either.
No, I didn't say you were.
You are. No, you insinuated. You just called me a fucking asshole. So fuck you. No, fuck you. You're being an asshole by, with your combative. You want to combat.
I'm not combative.
Stupid.
How am I combative?
Little fucking things and quote Dave Meltzer about meetings that he's never fucking even been in.
You're a good move.
And you're talking about how, that gimmick's fucking stupid. Why the fuck would you put something on somebody new? And Mabel, why would you try to build a new star? Why don't you build a new star? God damn it, you're using the same guys. Why isn't Razor in the tournament? Razor should be in the tournament because he's Razor.
He was injured. He was in the tournament. He was injured. That's what I was trying to get to, and I've asked a few different times. Like, was Mabel always the plan? And since we know
yes,
I got you.
So you still ask it? And still put in. Well, why wasn't this guy in it? Why didn't you do it with Taker? Why didn't you do it with that guy? Well, because we were planning on building new stars.
How'd that work out?
Good.
Like WCW, I guess.
Well, the only difference is we're still in business, Conrad.
I'm just saying, Mabel and King Mabel and WCW.
Well, WCW fucking King Mabel was going to be the third man. Third man or fourth man?
It was supposed to be third man.
Okay, yeah.
So the night before is the second.
The night before, he said, "I'm not going to do it." So
he had Miguel Perez, induct Antonio Rocca, Bill Watts, induct Ernie Ladd, Pat Myers, induct George Steele, Scott Putski, induct Ivan Putski, Alundra Blaze, induct the Fabulous Moolah, Lou Albano, induct the Grand Wizard, and Gorilla Monsoon, induct Pedro Morales. Of course, this is before the Hall of Fame ceremony is what it is now, a much smaller, more intimate affair. What'd you think of this version of the Hall of Fame? I guess it happened at the new Philadelphia downtown Marriott at the time, which I think both of us have spent a little time at for conventions and whatnot. What do you remember of these early Hall of Fame ceremonies?
I thought they were good. I liked the feel of them because they were smaller and they were more intimate. Obviously, as everything does, it grows and changes and evolves. What I liked about these were, I guess, the intimacy more than anything.
Yeah.
Seeing the old timers, seeing, being able to visit with Ernie and sit back and talk with him and go through old stories and just be able to be that fly on the wall and sit at the table while they told their stories to one another. And every one of them thought they could kick the other one's ass still to that day. It was fun. It was intimate and it was different. But things change and it grows. And this was a place where we had dinner and it was a banquet and it was more for the industry than it was for the audience.
Yes.
But when we started bringing, more and more of an audience in and realize the audience really enjoyed that. And it was time to make it a bigger spectacle so that the audience could be more of a part of it. Again, from a selfish standpoint, I like the intimacy of it, and because I appreciated it. That's all.
We had like 750 people there. One of the people not there, Pedro Morales, he no-showed. So Savio Vega accepts on his behalf. I guess Pedro at the time was the Spanish language announcer for WCW, and he didn't appear for fear that there would have been heat within his own company. I think maybe that was a little silly. Maybe it was smart of him. Were you disappointed that Pedro made this choice, or I guess I understand.
I was very disappointed because I like Pete a lot. And I think that he was, this was early on, man. You didn't go to the other guy's show. You didn't do these things. We looked at the Hall of Fame as a different situation where, we were celebrating the history. Pete was a big part of that. And that was his choice. I don't know that I have no idea if WCW told him not to go.
Right.
I have no idea if that transpired or not. But I do know that I missed him, and I would love for him to have been there.
Did you just call that motherfucker Pete?
Should we call him Pete?
Okay. You got to get hot about it. I was just asking a question.
I'm not hot about it.
Let's talk about Bill Murray. He does a taped introduction here for George Steele. I don't remember hearing Bill Murray doing much with wrestling. Did you ever meet Bill Murray over the years?
Matter of fact, I have.
How was he?
Excellent. Wonderful guy. Funny as hell. Just a great guy. And fan of the business. But the reason that Bill Murray inducted George Steele was because they had done the the director, Plan 9 from Outer Space. Bill Murray was in the movie about the director, Bert. God, I can't remember the guy's name. It's very famous, and I'm blank. But Bill Murray was in that movie with George Steele, and George wanted Bill to induct him into the Hall of Fame, and that's why that took place. But Bill was a great guy.
Let's are you talking about Ed Wood, maybe?
Ed Wood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the show. It's June 25th, Philadelphia, Core States Spectrum. It's nearly a sellout. This is one of those hot markets for the company as long as we can remember. But boy, this show is not one of them. The readers of the Observer gave it a 7.6% thumbs up, a whopping 85.8% thumbs down. It does 185,000 buys. The year prior, it did 185,000 buys. That year, we had Piper and Lawler on top, along with Bret Hart and Diesel. And this is actually the lowest buy rate of any King of the Ring. So there were 10 King of the Ring pay-per-views. This got the worst buy rate of all of them. Meltzer would say, so how bad was it? Bad enough that when it ended 11 minutes early, nobody complained. Bad enough that fans were changing.
11 minutes early to what? What was 11 minutes early?
Just the top of the hour. Normally you guys used to get really close to the top of the hour on pay-per-views. He's just trying to be funny that people were thankful it was over, Bruce. You don't have to take everything seriously.
Well, no, you're presenting this as fact that we ended the show 11 minutes early. I don't know. I want to know what that was based on. Based on what? We didn't.
He didn't present it as fact.
Time. Oh, that's hilarious.
Well, if I'm allowed to continue, it does get better, but what do you think of the show? And then we'll roll the fucking credits and we'll wrap it up.
Yeah. What a great show.
Well, thanks for tuning in, everybody. Greatly appreciate you guys checking us out and supporting all that we do here on Something to Wrestle. Before we let you go, we should mention that GameTime has your tickets. If you want to go to a really, really bad show, one of the worst shows in history, and then take your ticket stub home and frame it up, well, GameTime can help you. Actually, they can't, because they send the tickets to your phone, because it's never been easier to buy tickets to bad wrestling than it is with GameTime. Seriously, GameTime is a home run. Bruce and I do a little bit of traveling, and whenever we're out of town, we know we can always count on pulling up GameTime and seeing what's happening right now. Let me explain. A lot of times tickets go on sale months and months in advance. You may have missed your chance. That event might be sold out. You might not be able to get the good seats you wanted. You eliminate all of that risk with GameTime. You see, what GameTime allows you to do is see what your ticket view is going to be like before you actually buy the tickets. That eliminates all the guesswork. I love that because sometimes it's easy to look at a seat map and get overwhelmed. Is that a good seat? Is this a good seat? You know it's a great seat every single time with GameTime. You get your image view right up front. Not only that, and this is my favorite part, they do a guarantee. Let me explain. It's the lowest price guarantee. Here's how this works. If you find a ticket in the same row, in the same section for less money, they'll go ahead and credit you 110% of the difference. Think about that. 110% of the difference. You just can't beat it. Now, this just doesn't work for wrestling. You can also do it for football, basketball, baseball, concerts, comedy, theater. If it's a ticketed event, they got it. They run flash deals and last-minute tickets, so you don't have to stress, oh, man, I bet it's sold out. Oh, man, I bet we can't get a great seat. You can with GameTime, and you can get a great deal. You just can't beat it. By the way, I mentioned it at the top. It's so easy. 2 taps, boom, the tickets are in your phone. It really is that simple. You don't even have to dig out the email. So snag the tickets without the stress with GameTime. Just download the GameTime app, create an account, and use the code WRESTLE for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code WRESTLE for $20 off. Download GameTime today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. You're going to dig it. Let's talk about the matches here. Before we do, we should mention Doc Hendricks. I don't know if you saw on YouTube. Maybe you were watching.
Dude.
He's actually out there with Vince McMahon for this. What'd you think of his job doing a little color?
Well, I've always thought that Michael has been a great color guy. Absolutely fabulous for his days going back to Mid-South with Jim Ross. And that was the entire reason that he was brought in here, was to be a color commentator. And I thought Michael did an excellent job.
Unfortunately, it happens to be on what a lot of people thought at the time may have been the worst wrestling pay-per-view they'd ever seen. When the show was over, do you remember that being your takeaway? Like, oh man, this was, as a friend of yours would say sometimes, bowling shoe ugly.
I was glad it was over. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
I was done with it.
Well, I don't know what you were doing with it, but Meltzer said on the positive side, it was an extremely well-produced show. So he's very complimentary of what you guys put together, but for whatever reason, the creative maybe was amiss that day. And I should mention that Meltzer was actually pretty decent on Doc Hendricks too. He says the announcing was damn good, with Doc Hendricks going back into his old Hayes character rather than trying to be something he isn't. When Hendricks wasn't in Michael Hayes' character, he was reciting Jim Ross trivia. It was obvious that either Ross had prepared a ton of notes for him to read off, or Ross was on the headsets with him throughout the night, feeding him with points to bring up as soon as he recognized the opening. There were no bad camera shots. It was an excellent atmosphere at the beginning of the show, but the matches got worse and the show got deader. What'd you think? Was JR a good producer, do you think, on the headsets? Like,
no.
Okay.
I think JR is an excellent preparation man. I think JR is an excellent play-by-play guy. I do not think Jim is a good producer from this standpoint. Jim tries to perform while he produces. So Jim is so used to doing play-by-play and so used to being in that moment and being there that he's doing it for you instead of feeding you to get you to the next point, and everything sounds like Jim. The reason that Jim is so good is because Jim's preparation is probably second. Well, Michael Cole's great preparation as well, but I think he learned that from Jim. Jim Ross, if I wanted anybody in the world to prepare me to do that, I would want Jim. Because that, again, folks, that's why he's so good. I think that Jim producing someone would put himself there and try to do it as they're doing it instead of being ahead of it a little bit and giving them bullet points and get in and get out. Jim's all about sound bites. Jim's the best there is. But it just was like, I didn't think he was that good of a producer in that regard because he was so used to doing it. And again, preparation, nobody can touch it.
Let's talk a little bit about the crowd. Meltzer's going to say you guys were announcing a sellout of 19,767. It wasn't actually sold out. It was closer to 15,000. However, ticket prices were higher. So the gate is probably in excess of 300 grand, which is going to be only behind WrestleMania for being the largest of the year, which is pretty amazing when you think about how bad the show is. The product is seemingly down, but man, this market's pretty hot for it if we're setting a record like that. So a fun little trivia note that a lot of folks have noticed in recent years, the kids who open the doors for the performers here at King of the Ring, it's the Hardy Boys. Before they're the Hardy Boys. As you see, if you're watching over on YouTube, that's Matt Hardy on the right. That's Jeff Hardy on the left. Any chance you remember meeting these kids back then?
Hired them to do the doors. They were extras. They'd been enhancement talent with us for years up to that point.
With the Italian Stallion, right?
Yeah. And they got nice little haircuts and they fit the outfits.
It's tremendous.
Ah, damn, anybody your size 8. There you go. Yeah.
Somebody else who was trying something new here. Manny Garcia is going to replace Howard Finkel as the pay-per-view ring announcer starting with this show. And he will do that for the rest of 1995 too. Why was Vince wanting to make a change here? Why Manny over Fink, man? We loved Howard Finkel.
Well, because Manny made all the live events. And we were looking to make Manny into more of a host. That's what you saw in the live event. So put him on TV so that when people see him in the live events, they know who he is. And they become familiar with him. And Howard had a ton of other duties as well.
When Meltzer's recapping the pre-show match, Savio Vega pinning IRS, Savio Vega, of course, substituting for Razor Ramon. He would write, with IRS about to retire to become a road agent, not to mention the winner facing Yokozuna, the finish was guaranteed. Now, that doesn't matter, but IRS about to retire to become a road agent. Now, we know he winds up going over and joining WCW. He's actually on WCW programming later this year. Do you think the original plan, the way you remember it, Rotunda was going to work in a backstage capacity and then maybe he got an offer to be on air with WCW, or did you guys rescind the offer? Do you remember?
At this time, I don't think there was any plan for Mike to be a backstage producer at all.
Okay. There's a pregame show. Shawn Michaels is going to come out and do an interview, and he's going to have a line in here about not being the most popular wrestler among the wrestlers, but being popular with the fans. I think that's pretty fun. Something else happens on the pre-show, Bruce, that I think we need to play and just get your reaction from, because this is something that we didn't see a lot of in this era. It's a familiar face that you're going to recognize. And I don't remember seeing this before or after. Let's roll that clip.
Matter of fact, you want to be part of it? Want to keep a little momentum, huh? You want to get a little souvenir? Bruce Prichard is standing by with some merchandise information. Where are you, Bruce? I'm over here, Todd. The crowd's going nuts here on the Spectrum. And remember, it's not too late to order pay-per-view, and it's not too late to get your official King of the Ring souvenirs. We have the King of the Ring hat with the King of the Ring logo on it. And when you buy the King of the Ring hat, you also get the official World Wrestling Federation magazine that covers the King of the Ring from top to bottom. Now, both the hat and the program, along with a free souvenir King of the Ring poster, is only $17. You can get it by calling 1-800-TITAN-91. But hey, Todd, check it out. It's the official King of the Ring t-shirt, and it is only $18. And with every King of the Ring t-shirt that you buy, you get a free Mr. Bob Backlund for President button It is only $18. Call 1-800-TITAN-91. Todd, let's go back up to you. All right, Bruce, thank you very much. I can't beat that deal with a stick, I'll tell you what.
So, Bruce, how about it, man? Plugging merch in the dark. This is long before we were saying, don't put a T in his name, put one on your back. But how in the world do you get that job? I mean, I know you started selling stuff to fans for Mr. Bosch, but here you are in the dark, and ta-da, there will be light shilling away.
What a good-looking son of a bitch I was. And young, too.
Handsome.
Well, let me tell you a story about how that happened.
Okay.
Barry Dudinsky.
All right.
Barry had done those plugs prior to this particular night in Philadelphia. And Barry had made the comment along the way as we were preparing for this night about his tuxedo. And Vince was like, why do you need a tuxedo to sell merchandise? My God. If you're going to sell the merchandise, you're going to sell a shirt, wear it. If you're going to sell a hat, wear it. Why are you in a tuxedo? Who the hell are you to be in a tuxedo? I'm going to buy something from a guy in a tuxedo holding up a shirt? Wear it. And so I was explaining to Barry just, how to sell the shirt and the hat and all this other stuff. Bruce goes, Bruce, you do it. Fuck it. Bruce, just you do it. So I made the comment. I said, all right, I'll go down and get a tux tomorrow. And he says, God damn it. That's what I'm talking about. No, you're going to wear the merchandise. Well, I don't want to wear the merchandise. But that's how that happened. And so I think I did it I did those two spots at that time. And that was the only time I did it. But yeah, that was drizzling shits.
The idea that they threw it to you and you were doing it in the dark, I'm sure in your head you were like, turn the fucking lights on.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wonderful. They eventually got them on.
Yeah.
Well, everyone's chagrin at home.
And eventually the pay-per-view started. Savio Vega is going to beat Yokozuna by countout, 8 minutes and 24 seconds. Meltzer would say it's got to be hard to work with Yokozuna because of his size and physical condition. The fans are chanting USA, which is kind of funny because one guy's from Puerto Rico, and I guess that's technically USA. I don't know. It's just fun. Either way, though, Owen Hart is going to be doing this show backstage in the Superstar line. We're trying to sell some calls to the 900 line. Vega gets the win, so he advances. Next up, we've got the roadie pinning Bob.
Did you call the Superstar line right in the middle of the pay-per-view because you wanted to hear what somebody had to say while you're watching the show on pay-per-view, listening to that commentary? You didn't call and listen to somebody else do commentary over the phone?
Never did that. No.
Yeah, nobody else did either.
Next up, the roadie would pin Bob Holly in 7 minutes and 30 seconds. Meltzer would say it was fast-paced with a lot of near falls early. And he said Holly was very impressive here and that roadie takes good bumps. He's green on offense, but has great potential. 2.25 stars or 2.5 stars. The roadie gets the win here. There's been some controversy on Road Dogg's podcast over the last year where he said that Bret is one of the best in-ring performers of all time, one of the greatest wrestlers there ever was. However, he considered himself a better sports entertainer than Bret. I knew what he meant, but boy, that stirred everybody up. Do you have an opinion on a difference between a sports entertainer and a quote-unquote wrestler? Can you explain that to us?
Well, I think that what he's saying is that he was more of an entertainer,
yes,
than he was a wrestler.
Yes.
Bret is more of a wrestler than he is an entertainer. Bret's entertainment is in his matches. Dog's entertainment is in his promos and everything he does all around it. And Dog's a tremendous worker as well. Bret's a great worker. I think Bret's entertaining on the other side as well. But I think that's what he meant is that he was an entertainer. I'm going to go out and I'm going to talk to you. I'm going to sing to you. I'm going to make you feel good. I'm going to do all that other shit. I may have a match. I don't know. But Bret's going to have that match, by God, and he's going to get you. And he may cut his promo and everything else around it. And I think that's what Dog meant. Again, it goes to people, listen to the context of things before you form an opinion, and listen to all of it and take it all into consideration instead of just hearing one little thing and what you want to hear based on previous bias.
Well, Road Dogg has a good match here as the roadie, picking up a win over Bob Holly, and that's only his third televised match for the company. Jeff Jarrett is at ringside with him, and now that means Roadie and Savio Vega are in the Final Four. So we've got two new cats here in the company now in the Final Four. Before the next match, we have another Bruce run in. This time you're trying to sell all the King of the Ring swag, but on the set.
I think I still have those pants.
Shawn Michaels does a run in as well. Why did you not like this? Do you not think that you could have done this? I think you could have done a great job with this.
I got so much shit going on during the show.
Yeah,
that
you have this too.
That to go, yeah, I got to start doing this, and I've got to go out and prepare and remember all my other stuff that I got to do and next. But just was what it was.
Next up, we get Shawn Michaels in the ring here. He's going to be wrestling Kama, the Ultimate Fighting Machine, and they go 15 minutes. Yeah, Kama, 15 minutes.
Yeah.
The Creatures of the Night are at ringside. Meltzer would write that Shawn is probably outweighed by 120 pounds, and the guy he's wrestling is quote-unquote marginal at best. Ultimately, though, we see Ted DiBiase put the boots to Shawn Michaels, and the last 2 minutes consist of Shawn getting several near falls, and then time expires. And Manny Garcia calls this match a double draw.
Yeah, the old double draw. That's when if you get your cards.
Yes.
And you get a double draw.
Yeah.
Then you got a good hand.
So now Shawn's out. He's not going to be advancing. And of course,
because of the double draw.
Razor's been replaced by Savio. So what could have been? Next up, Mabel's going to beat The Undertaker. And Meltzer would say this is the first pinfall loss I can recall The Undertaker taking since challenging Hogan for the title back in 1991. Because of the and the match was terrible. Undertaker had the early advantage until Mo distracted him, allowing Mabel to use a belly-to-belly. Mabel went into a lengthy camel clutch and chin lock and rammed Undertaker into the steps. After a lengthy slow period, Mabel ran into Undertaker's foot and a clothesline. Mabel used a pile driver for a near fall, and after a collision, Mabel missed an elbow drop, and The Undertaker makes the big comeback. We get a ref bump, and then The Undertaker has Mabel pinned for a flying clothesline. After the choke slam, Mo interferes, but Undertaker decks him. Then Kama does a run in and kicks Undertaker in the face. Mabel then nails the leg drop, revives the ref, gets the win. And after the match, Kama is going to slap The Undertaker in the face, which wakes him up, and then Kama runs away. So negative half a star. I know you've told us before that you took a little bit of razzing over the years from The Undertaker about putting him with guys like Giant Gonzalez at WrestleMania, but this Mabel match might be the forgotten stinker.
Oh no, he hasn't forgotten it. I guarantee. I know that Undertaker's not forgotten his match with Mabel. Any of his matches with Mabel. And I get the blame for those too.
I mean, this is a big deal. I mean, I don't know if it's accurate, but the second pinfall loss, like Hogan and now Mabel, that's crazy.
Again, you're looking at building new talent. You're looking at making people, and what better way to do it than to do it with established talent and an unselfish talent like The Undertaker, who was willing to do that, to try and to make a new talent like Mabel and give him new opponents and somebody else to work with. Same thing with Kama. Again, new to come in and work with Undertaker. So yeah, this was a building show. This was one of those that they're not all going to be the greatest show in the whole wide world. I wish they were, but they're just not. And sometimes you've got to take a little dip to get to a bigger wave. And
Well said.
That's what we're doing.
Hey, let me ask you about this. I'm sure that the negative Nancy's out there would say that Shawn Michaels maybe didn't want to do the JOB for Mabel, and that's the reason we went to a draw. I don't believe that. I think what makes more sense is, do we really think Mabel can wrestle 3 matches on pay-per-view at his size? Maybe the idea is, let's let him have the match for The Undertaker and then get to the finals. Asking the big man to do 3 matches, that's probably less than ideal, no?
Yeah, that would be something that I would advocate.
Yeah, no kidding.
It's like, let's make sure that we got enough steam in that last match for him to get through it.
Do you think in hindsight, I know we're trying new things and all that jazz, but with the benefit of hindsight, where are you at on, as a rule, tournaments on pay-per-view? You like them?
I do like tournaments. I do. I think that there's stakes, and I think that you have to give attractive opening matches for people to be interested, but there also has to be a big carrot at the end. You need to have a prize at the end that people really care about. So that's probably the toughest. That's the toughest nut to crack. But I like them. It just really depends on the tournament and really what the prize is at the end of the day.
Harder to sell though, no? Like from a
Sure.
pay-per-view standpoint?
Yeah, absolutely. A lot harder to sell because people don't know what they're getting.
That's right.
Don't know what I'm paying for. Don't know what I'm getting.
Well, we know what we're getting next. It's Savio Vega, the new guy, pinning the roadie, the other new guy, in 6 minutes and 36 seconds. Crowd's not really with it because I don't think anybody is really invested in these characters yet. And after the match, Carlos Cabrera, the lead announcer for the Spanish announced team, is going to do an interview with Vega in Spanish. And Doc Hendricks.
Goddamn, I was going to say, Carlos looks a lot like old Michael Hayes.
And then we got Hendricks doing a translation for both men, which is funny. And let me just read what Dave wrote. Hendricks does a translation of both men saying Cabrera was telling Vega that Mabel's going to kill him, and Vega agrees. It was really funny. Next up, maybe this is the biggest highlight of the show. It's Jerry Lawler and Bret Hart in a Kiss My Foot match. We're rekindling the feud from 1993, which never got the official blow off because of some problems that Jerry Lawler had. At the prior month at In Your House, we saw Lawler sneak by with a victory over Bret thanks to Hakushi. A pissed off Bret then challenges Lawler to any kind of rematch he wants. And this is how we get this Kiss My Foot stipulation. And in the weeks leading up to this, Lawler was doing fun promos on TV saying he wasn't washing his feet and he wants them to be as nasty as possible. And he even forced Aldo Montoya to kiss his filthy foot after a match. What'd you think of this is old school territory stuff. What'd you think of the idea and the execution?
Love the idea. Again, it was a simple story and, natural rivalry with Lawler and Bret, a year old, but now getting to it and adding the Kiss My Foot stipulation. I love producing all those Kiss My Foot vignettes. We did them all at the, the King, where they joust, the Renaissance, medieval times.
There you go.
And those folks were great in New Jersey, and we went out and just shot a ton of vignettes with Lawler, and the sillier we got, I had him walk through actual horse poop so that he would make it extra dirty and then put it on. And I just thought, again, that was entertainment. And that was the entertainment part of the show. And you had a good match in the middle of it with Bret and Jerry, and they put on an excellent performance. But Bret being able to take Lawler's foot and put it in his own mouth was tremendous. We all sat there. How in the hell did he do that?
It's super fun. It's a great match. It's old school. Lawler takes the boot off and starts hitting Bret in the face. Bret's going to keep kicking out. The ripped up sock is a big part of it that you saw over on YouTube if you're watching along with us. Meltzer would say, not a good match technically, but Hart was the most over person on the show, and Lawler did a great job working the crowd. And it had by far the most crowd heat and interest. 2 3/4 stars. Of course, we get Shinja and Hakushi involved as well, just because I know you love that. And the air of video of Lawler backstage vomiting and washing his mouth out with toothpaste and mouthwash. I mean, this is pretty fun. It's silly, it's stupid, but it's fun. And something that happens on the way to the ring is something that we wouldn't see again. Stephanie Wyand is going to interview Jerry the King Lawler as he's walking to the ring. She leaves the company just a few weeks after this. I thought she did okay. What do you remember about her leaving? Why did she leave?
Stephanie was there for a gig. Really nice lady. Just wasn't for her. She wanted to be the weather person. She wanted to be a newscaster. She didn't want to be in the WWE, and it was just a gig to her.
Well, it's just a gig to Savio Vega too. He's working his 4th match now. And again, remember, this is Razor Ramon's new buddy. This is really his coming out party. He's going to wrestle 4 times on this night, this time against Mabel in an 8-minute and 32-minute affair, or 8-minute and 32-second affair that was just described as a horrible match. Lots of bear hugs and chin locks, and a section of diehard fans starts chanting ECW that you can actually pick up on the show. But yeah, less than ideal. Razor Ramon is going to be here. Mo is going to get involved. The 1, 2, 3 kid's going to do a run in. This is just less than ideal. At one point, McMahon has to say, listen to the crowd. What'd you think of this? I mean, the crowd's burnt on Savio Vega. I don't think Mabel's over. We're trying new things. I don't know that it's working. What do you remember about this one?
It was rotten.
Yeah.
It was rotten. You know, and the Philadelphia audience, one of the reasons I really do love the Philadelphia audience is, man, you better give them something or else they're going to give you shit for it. So that's what happened. The audience was like, yeah, okay, nah, man, we're not buying this. They didn't like it. And definitely let that be known.
They did a long coronation ceremony. Fans are pelting Mabel with garbage during this. Listen, in any other town, I don't know that it would have been this bad, but this Philadelphia audience, you probably had an idea going into this. They ain't going to love Mabel, right?
Well, again, you know, it's critics and fans also talk out of both sides of their mouth. We want new, we want different, we want this, we want that. You give them new, you give them different. And it's, why do you give me my old favorite? We don't care about this guy. So you can't please everybody all the time.
Of course, we know King Mabel gets the title shot at SummerSlam against Diesel, but it's not the same as the old Hogan versus big guy main event mindset. Maybe by this era, we've been weaned on Shawn Michaels and Bret Hart and guys like that. Mabel's maybe not exactly what they're looking for, so much so that he's gone by January 96. But we're still not done. It's time to talk about the main event. Diesel had taken a few weeks off prior to this show. He had an injured elbow, probably still not at 100% here. We also have Tatanka in a main event of a WWF pay-per-view. That's a real sentence. That really happened. And maybe it took too long. Diesel and Bam Bam wrestled Tatanka and Sid for 17.5 minutes. Bigelow's working a lot of the early stuff. When Diesel tags in, the heels are going to go to work on that bad elbow for several minutes. Tatanka's going to take a nice side slam and then a foot to the face and a jackknife. Diesel then picks Tatanka up at 2 and signals he wants Sid. Sid walks to the dressing room to build up their rematch, just leaving Tatanka alone, and he's going to be pinned after an elbow drop. Meltzer would say the finish was flat and did wonders for Sid as a killer heel, making him more of a Buddy Landell Lawler type of coward heel, 1.5 stars. What'd you think of the finish, man? Just teasing the Sid thing. Just let him walk out.
You ever smelt a fart in church?
Yep.
Well, there you go.
I mean, 17 minutes in this main event, that could have been maybe half. Like, you got some big boys in there.
Well, if it had been half, then people would go, "Oh my God, only an 8-minute match." Again, you can't please everybody, and it is what it is. And you're trying to tell a story of the champion being hurt,
right?
You're trying to, tell a story of Sid and Diesel to get to the next event, and okay. It was what it was, but it was rotten. It took all the air, if there was any air left in the building, it took all the rest of it out of it.
Instagram, a wrestling historian, wants to know, was anybody else ever seriously discussed to win besides Mabel?
Savio.
Really? Even as a last-minute replacement?
Yeah.
Jeff Stewart wants to know.
Not, it was designed for Mabel, but Savio was discussed.
Adam Leeson says, who honestly thought Mabel versus Diesel would draw a good buy rate? Does Bruce believe Jerry and Bret's chemistry outside of the ring transferred well when it came to having a match? So we'll do one of those at a time. Did you think Mabel and Diesel would draw, or is that a Vince idea?
I thought that it was a good opponent for Diesel.
He needed somebody.
He needed. He needed somebody to be a threat.
Yeah, because he's it's hard to be a sympathetic babyface when you're 7 foot tall.
Yeah, 7-foot monster babyface champion. Well, you need a big, at least in appearance, threat on the other side.
Yeah. Does Bruce believe Jerry and Bret's chemistry outside of the ring transferred well when it came to having a match? I like the match. It's different styles, but
I thought the match was great. I don't understand the question, but I thought the match was great.
Jeff Stewart says, why does WWE hate Philly for pay-per-views? Mabel, King of the Ring, Boss Man hung at Hell in a Cell, Punjabi Prison, Reigns winning the Royal Rumble. He makes a good point. You hate Philadelphia.
The hell I do.
I know you're going to be in Ralph's sooner rather than later. Shout out to Ralph's.
Yeah. No, look. We love Philadelphia. I love Philadelphia for that reason. I think that the audience is passionate. The audience is passionate for what they love and what they don't. And, sometimes you think you're going to give them something and they let you know. They're a great barometer. But, geez, man, to be in a Philly crowd is, sometimes they can be a little rambunctious and things of that nature. But I love a passionate crowd, man. And if you are going to describe a Philly crowd in one word, that's it. Passion.
Rick Spade wants to know, and you'll love the phrasing here, was the sock Jerry Lawler wore a shoot sock from all the segments he did prior to King of the Ring, or a working sock? If it's a shoot sock, is that why he threw up, or was that work? I love that. We said a lot of words there, and they are so quote unquote inside. We just talked ourselves into a circle. My goodness. Do you honestly think that Jerry Lawler willingly, knowingly put cow shit in his mouth? Come on, buddy.
Yes,
Dave,
of course he did.
Dave in the QC says, why do you think Tatanka never really got a singles title push in WWE? He was over as a face, hated as a heel, but never achieved much success.
I think Tatanka was a great guy to have on the card. I think
Yes.
Tatanka was a tremendous character, wonderful human being, all of those things. Next to that, I don't think that the audience was invested beyond that.
I'll tell you what I was invested in, a damn theme song. Can you give us a Tatanka battle cry?
I thought that was Silva having a bowel movement.
It is.
Okay.
Drew Landry wants to know, what was the plan with Mabel after winning the tournament? Turn him heel, continue as a face in that purple spacesuit going for the title? Like, did you realize as soon as that pay-per-view was over, we got to move on?
No, I wanted to give it a try with Diesel as a run, going for the championship. That's what it was designed to do.
Eric wants to know, what was the thought process of having the quarterfinal matches on pay-per-view? Years later, you just aired the semis and the finals. Which did you like better?
Semis and finals.
Yeah, me too. Just too
Again,
much.
it gets you closer to knowing what you're going to get. I like tournaments. I just, I do like just hell. I don't mind just the final nowadays for the PLEs. But yeah, it's the whole tournament is a little tough sell, especially even tougher these days.
It's not a tough sell for me to get excited about next week's episode. We're going to be talking about the 1, 2, 3 Kid, X-Pac, Sean Waltman, whatever you want to call him. My man did a whole lot in the WWE. We're going to be talking about his career in depth. Want to remind everybody, you can get all these shows early and ad-free over at adfreeshows.com. And man, we've got a ton of exclusive bonus audio and video content over there. Stuff you can't hear anywhere else. We got Monday mailbags with Mike Chioda and Nick Patrick. We got the book with David Crockett, where we go through episodically, day by day, through his brother's Red Book, the genius mind of Dusty Rhodes, all the gates, all the towns, all the way through 1985. We've also got an Insiders series where I'm talking to folks like Dick Cheatham, who was one of the lead Turner accountants. He knows where all the bodies were buried in WCW. And speaking of WCW, we're about to debut a new Tuesdays with the Taskmaster, Kevin Sullivan, coming to ad-free shows. We should also mention that you get to be a live part of the shows here, and you get to interface and do live Q&As with all the different hosts. It all happens at adfreeshows.com. By the way, if your business targets men 25 to 54 years old, man, there's no better place to advertise than right here on Something to Wrestle with Bruce Prichard. You've heard some of the same ads for the same companies for years. And why is that? Well, because it really works. And with our super targeted audience, there's very little waste. Go right now to advertisewithbruce.com and find out more about advertising with Something to Wrestle. You can also follow us on Twitter and social media everywhere. It's at Prichard Show. That's on Twitter and Instagram. It's Something to Wrestle over on Facebook. But the easiest, cheapest, best way to support the show is to go follow us on YouTube. That's somethingtowrestle.com. You can see all of our clips and highlights and full shows right there. And we've got tons of new swag over at somethingtowrestleshirts.com. Just in time for summer, a little something for everybody. A little Yeti cup action by the pool and some tank tops and everything else that you're looking for. Somethingtowrestleshirts.com. Bruce, I appreciate the time today. I appreciate you making time out of your busy schedule. Can't wait to talk about Waltman this coming week.
Can't wait.
In the meantime, go order some Jimmy's Famous Seafood. It'll cure what ails you. We'll see you next week right here on Something to Wrestle with Bruce Prichard.
Rock on.
Hey guys, Eric Bischoff here, and just want to call a quick timeout. I want to tell your listeners about what I've been telling everybody at over at 83 Weeks, quite a while now, about all the cool things that are happening over at adfreeshows.com.
On a new edition of The Insiders, Conrad sits down with former Turner finance executive Dirty Dick Cheatham, talking about the internal war between WCW and Turner and the Monday Night War with the WWF.
And my assistant said, "Hey, you're not going to believe who's down there." I said, "Who?" She says, "China's down there." And I said, "What are you talking about?"
Yeah.
And I went over to her window and looked outside. He did the whole, all of the exits down there. Get the camera. so we went down there, and of course, there were the exit that was down there in the fight with security.
On a bonus episode of My World, Double J watches back his tag team championship match against FTR and breaks down the hilarious Briscoe farm skit that preceded it.
And they said, can y'all be in the background talking? And the four of us are down there, really just all four of us. But Lethal and Sanjay, I said, we got to start being silly. I just started strumming the guitar, and Sanjay started bouncing that baby, and Sanjay and him started doing the do. I think this is, I don't know, it's the funniest, but I still think it's
hilarious.
It's a complete ad lib, but it played to, the line he said, them clowns, and we're down there dancing.
Perfect.
Perfect.
That's just a small taste of what we've got waiting for you with 4 levels to choose from. See for yourself why ad-free shows is the best value in wrestling today. Sign up now at adfreeshows.com.